The River Bollin has its source here in Macclesfield Forest on the edge of the Pennines. It is a river that has brought change to those living downstream in Cheshire. In style, just a few miles from Macclesfield, the River Bollin meanders through a valley, then passes over a dam which was constructed for Quarry Bank Mill in 1801. The Industrial Revolution was taking place in Britain during the 1700s and beginning to affect the way people lived and worked. At that time, the manufacture of cloth kept many people employed working in their homes producing cotton thread for weaving. Two operations, carding and spinning, were required to produce cotton thread. The process of carding being demonstrated straightens fibres and removes unwanted debris. The cotton is removed and carefully rolled onto a tube ready for spinning. The carded fibres are then stretched and twisted using the spinning wheel to produce strong thread suitable for weaving cloth. A few cottagers would own their own looms, but many would sell their spun cotton to textile merchants. In 1764, James Hargreaves invented the hand-operated spinning jenny. This machine enabled a single worker to spin several threads at once. Just a few years later, William Arkwright invented the water frame, a water-powered spinning machine based on the spinning jenny. However, it was the patent-free Spinning Mule invented by Samuel Crompton that attracted Samuel Gregg, a Manchester-based textile merchant of Irish origin who recognised its potential when water-powered. By 1784 he had built a spinning mill at Quarry Bank to house the spinning mules. The power to drive these machines came from a large water wheel fed from the River Bollin. 7 water wheels were used at the mill between 1780 and 1818 as power demand increased, and in 1801 the Bollin was dammed to increase the head of water. The water wheel currently installed is not the original great wheel, but a close match that was recovered from a mill in Yorkshire. Several machines were involved in the preparation of cotton for the spinning mules. This remarkable carding machine converts the raw cotton feed directly into sliver. The debris being extracted is known as shoddy. The rope-like sliver is very fragile and is further processed and reduced in diameter to produce roving. Roving is just a few millimetres in diameter, still rather fragile, and makes up the feed for the spinning mule. The mules at Quarry Bank are capable of spinning over 500 spindles in one operation. On the outward traverse of the mule, the roving is paid out, twisted and stretched. On the return traverse, the roving is clamped and the spindles reversed, taking up the newly spun thread. These machines create weft by merging spun cotton onto large spools. The spools are then attached to a loom. By 1832 the mill was still essentially used for spinning, but weaving was also undergoing change. The productivity of hand looms improved with the introduction of the flying shuttle demonstrated here. This feature was further developed for power looms using a mechanism known as the picking stick. In 1832 Samuel Gregg retired and was succeeded by his son Robert Hyde Gregg. By 1938 Robert had added 2 weaving sheds to the mill housing 305 looms. The fast action of the picking stick which propels the shuttle through the weft can be clearly seen. The speed of the shuttle is critical in powered looms. The speed of the drive to the loom therefore needs to be carefully regulated, and this requirement cannot be met with power from a water wheel. Fortunately, in 1810 Samuel Gregg had installed a 10 horsepower Bolton and Watt beam engine to supplement the shortfall of power from the water wheel, and this provided the necessary speed control for the looms. A second 20 horsepower engine was added in 1838. By 1871 the beam engines had been replaced by a more efficient 60 horsepower horizontal steam engine. This arrangement worked successfully until 1904, when a major failure of the pinion gearing on the water wheel occurred. A radical change was needed, and Robert Gregg decided the time was right to change the main power source from the water wheel to a water turbine. The new turbine used the same water supply system as the wheel and worked very successfully until production ceased in 1959. The turbine was sited in the wheel chamber. Water flowed in at the top, drove two axially mounted impellers and discharged down the centre of the turbine to the tail race. Quarry Bank Mill and its estate was donated to the National Trust in 1939, but continued in production until 1959. It is now a working museum. Visitors are taken on a journey in time through the development of the textile industry from its early cottage-based roots to large-scale manufacturing. The wheel still operates for demonstration purposes. Other working machinery is powered by electricity, 50% of which is supplied from a recently installed hydroelectric scheme. Water has been an essential driving force throughout the life of Quarry Bank Mill, supplied faithfully and sustainably by the River Bollin for over 200 years.